Welcome to part 1 of our Hessdalen series, where we dive into one of the world's most mysterious UFO hotspots. Located in the remote valley of Hessdalen, Norway, this place has fascinated researchers and enthusiasts for 4 decades with its frequent unexplained lights. In this episode, we arrive just in time. I meet with Carl Crusher for a community gathering of UAP observers. Over 50 participants from around the world set up for a weekend of skywatching under clear, starry skies. Will we witness the elusive Hessdalen lights? Stick around and find out.
Chris Lehto, welcome to LehtoFiles.
We went to the window and saw this huge, strong light slowly moving towards the north in that direction, and disappeared. It took several minutes. So that was one story.
That's just one story, right? Some guys seeing the light out and right in that valley over there. What's up, guys? So here I am in Hessdalen in Norway, and we're just at the community center here where they're having around 50 to 60 participants in field trip weekend. Oh, it's beautiful here, really nice. I brought a ton of cold weather gear, and looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend with clear skies, so we'll be doing a lot of UAP viewing. Hopefully we see something.
After me, it's going to be Magnus and Marvin, and then Carl is going to be talking about this anomaly detection systems. So he has a nice tie on the proper picture. But they're sitting there in the back. We have 3 from Ukraine. So we're going to swap them with Beatrice. So yeah, we try to focus on Hessdalen because we know the haystack. This is where they are. So I try to, how do I illustrate how important this is, and also how difficult this is. And I was trying AI pictures, didn't work. I was trying some old meme pictures I could find, it didn't work. So this is my illustration of how important it is. You get it? Oh, okay, I'll explain. I think after contact, we should start a new timeline. I think that, for me, that was like, okay, that demonstrates how important it is. If we get to that point, that will start a new timeline. I mean, the Jewish calendar has year 0 as the creation of Earth. And then we have Jesus and Muhammad, and then 0, 0. But I think this kind of, for me, that was a good demonstration of how important it is. We could reset, start with 0. And then I have another one for how difficult it is. I'll see if I can. This is not I am a programmer, but this is not 0, 1. This is worse. This is 0, and this is the Boolean OR operator. Okay? Because I think the human mind, in my feeling, is that we have this, if it's false, 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 and we see something true, false, 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 and the Boolean OR will give you true. So if you are on the one side thinking like, no, I don't believe in this, and somebody says it's a balloon. So you have false, 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 and you're not, but you see that it could be a balloon. Your mind is like, that's it. All it takes is 1. You are convinced because of that 1. I think we work like that. It's the other way. Like, if you see something crossing over your head, then that's the one. You have all these questions, you don't believe it, but you see that, that's the switch. You can't deny it anymore. So I'm sorry, but these are my simple symbols for how important and how difficult. We want to make the data as available as possible for the public and for the researchers. And that's important. That's what we've always done. When he gets pictures, he puts them on the old Hessdalen site, and you can see pictures, and even those that he hasn't cataloged yet, and they're there. You can see it. So in his openness, we want to continue that and get data. Of course, we know that we have to make sure that it's available in the cloud, and we have to figure it out. But the goal is to make it as available as possible. And I think that Project Hessdalen has been known for, like, we follow this scientific method. We try to follow the data. I think that's what it says on this. Yeah, follow the data and see where it takes you. Why Hessdalen? Well, first of all, it feels like it's looking for the needle in the haystack. Where are the UFOs? But at least we know that in this haystack, there are some. So for me, that is like, I'd like to know more about this, but yeah, like Heineck said, this is the best UFO laboratory in the world because they show up again and again and again. So that's why Hessdalen. I don't live here. Erling doesn't live here. I have to take an airplane to get here. But this is an interesting area. And I would like to honor Erling. This is an anniversary, 40 years. Please give him a hand. He still has the guts to continue and continue, and I love this picture. I have another picture a bit later on that is not so good, but I love this picture. So first of all, we have Erling way back. We have Massimo 20 years ago. 22 years ago. And we have so many others. I don't even know. I just read, oh, there's some more. And I Google it, and suddenly, yeah, they've been involved in this Project Hessdalen for years, and I've never heard of them. So there's so many people that has been into this. I've been working on this for a year and a half, and it all just happened by basically a joke at work. So I started. So there is so much into this. I don't know, where is Magnus? This is supposed to be Magnus. So we have the technical team working hard, and we have researchers, and we have a lot of actually paying members, which is needed because we need some income. And we have a lot of subscribers on Discord. I didn't know what Discord was, but it's a social media channel platform. And we have now more than 1,000 members or subscribers. And I've met so many people through this Discord. So it's important. Then currently too few, so before you leave, you can become a paying member. We have only like a 30. This gives us 2,000 every month. And of course, I would like to say times 10. Because then it's not 2,000 a month, then it's 20,000 a month. And then we can make Massimo happy. Because then we can get the equipment that is expensive with pan, tilt, zoom, and like proper equipment. That's the goal. But also remember, when you see this, yeah, these are the, just last year we asked, we need new computer, we need camera, and we got 50,000 just by asking. So, and I love it when I look at the bank account, and then suddenly there's like 2,000, and there's no name. They just pay. And another one was like 550 euro. And once again, they don't care. They don't want to say, I gave you this much money. They just want to support this project. So it's amazing. So I hope that we can actually, when he's asking for the really expensive equipment, get some donations and go to people and say, please support us. I was, until the joke at work, always interested and skeptical. It's like, it's too impossible for a spaceship coming from another planet in another galaxy or whatever, another place in the galaxy. It's like, makes no sense. But then when I've had a year and a half and talked to so many people, read so much, I have flipped from, I'm not there anymore, skeptical, interested, skeptical. I'm now convinced there is something very interesting. I'm there. I would like to say that, look at this, and in many situations, we go to ridicule. Because if it's something we don't understand at all, we don't like, it's easy to just laugh it away. And I think that many people have found me there in situations and thought I am silly, and they will then laugh at me. So be careful. If you are now doing that, don't do that. Be open-minded in a way. And also you can go to the other side, fanatic. And I was just talking, and like when I was a young kid and I had my confirmation at the time of 15, and I was still kind of struggling with life, and I went through and I became a Mormon for 2 years. Now that's fanatic in a way, if you look at it that way. It's like, really? So I've been there. I didn't feel like I was crazy. I was just convinced about that system of belief. So we are in all these aspects. So you talk to me, I'm not a crazy person. I'm not a fanatic person, but maybe another one, and you will think he is, but talk to the person. For me, it's like that code of conduct. Listen and discuss. Be kind and polite. Kind of important to say, after all. So respect differences, include everyone. And I'm including Jacques Vallée, because he said that when venturing into uncharted territories, scientists must remain open to unexplained outcomes. And if I'm looking at his scale, it's mind-blowing. Because he has like L1, or L0, ordinary, L1, anomalous. And then it goes like, what? Events challenging space-time and reality? What is he talking about? It's kind of totally out there. Last one, events with profound implications for human consciousness and existence. You really have to be able to discuss, is my point here. So, how believable is something? Of course, we do want to have the picture. We want to have the observation. So the first one is the easy science. We can have the detection, we have the measurement, we have the graph and whatever. So that's easy science. Witness is still science, it's just difficult science. So you have to do it with like, I don't know, statistical analysis, and you can find out if people are lying in this and that way and whatever, but it's still science. But it's still so difficult to get through, because you can talk to the witnesses, and then you can like, do you believe them or not? So, still. Then it becomes even weirder when you have experiencers who again and again and again will experience the phenomena. How weird is that? I haven't seen it once. Why is it kind of following some people? And you can go even further, like, are we talking about, where does that go? Contactees, where you feel like you have some kind of a mental contact with people, and then, well, this is a very famous case of abduction, taken up and telling the story after, and then you go like, really? Well, you talk to people here, you might experience interesting stuff. So, what the thing is that all of this, the first step for Project Hessdalen is to focus on detection. Get there. That's the first goal. And I like to stress this a little bit, because we like the science. So in the physical world, then you have all this, like, once it gets into your head, yeah, you have your sensory, you have your eye. Is that tricking you? Is there some kind of a mental model in your head? Is it like a computer where it's built up like a model? Or what is this consciousness? But all of this is kind of like, this is the world we know. I'm telling you, if you talk to people here, you're going to get into some of that strange, almost magical, what is this? So when you study it, you have to kind of, how is it possible? How can you say that a group of people saw something and you can just say, now they're delusional? Okay, all 7 delusional? Did all 7 see had an experience at the same time? What is that? Is that above your mind something? And then when something kind of materializes and it doesn't follow the science as we know it, what's that? Magic? It feels like magic. It's difficult. I just want to stress it's difficult. And if you look at it, before we had this, I had a watch like that. That was radioactive, glowing all the time. And at the time they didn't know that it was dangerous. And they didn't know what it was. There were all these theories about what is it? Like, is it delayed emission if you just show the light and then you wait and it's glowing after? It turned out it never stopped. So dismiss that. But it was magical that you had a watch that could glow in the dark forever until Madame Curie solved it and explained it. And this, what she did, marked the beginning of a new science. And we're kind of at the same step now. We have this UAPs. It's also a mysterious phenomena. And we have all these theories, like now it's just delusional, and no, it doesn't match. So it's mass hysteria. How do you explain that? And so on and so on. That's the easy answers we have. But if we really can get scientists to solve this and explain this, this is going to be groundbreaking. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be some scientist, some YouTuber? Is it going to be Joe Rogan? Who is going to be the one that kind of gets it out and gets us convinced? And then there are some other peaks now, because now the politicians wanted to know, oh, the military has some programs, and we as politicians don't know where the money is going. That's what their concern was. So they had a lot of discussions, and now this House Oversight Committee hearing has also sparked a new interest. So I think there is a change because of this activity, and we see it all over the world. And then, of course, almost 5 billion of these nice devices, you can do anything. So why don't we have more pictures? Well, the thing is, there are actually plenty of pictures taken on a mobile phone, but nobody believes it because you can fake everything now. So they're saying, like, why don't we have a lot? Yes, you do have a lot of video. Just start Googling that and it will come to your inbox. But that's why I want to have the anomaly detection system. That's why we're going to listen to Magnus and Marvin and Carl Crusher after this talk to hear what is the different systems that they use. And I want to shrink it down. This is a 4K camera. This is a powerful CPU. Maybe not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for something I can put in a backpack, have a solar panel, bring some big stick, and then make something out there and then send it over the internet. It's possible, but that's my dream. But these could be, first of all, automated. It's just doing it all by itself, and it's AI filtered. So you have a system that will kick out all the birds and the bees and the insects and the planes, and then only the interesting part is being sent on the internet. And that's the reason I need a computer, because this has to be processed locally before it's on the internet. But that's what I want. And you can help, because that's the way it is. I mean, we need more people. You have to take some of these. No. You have to take some of these and spread the message in a way that we are trying to find out something pretty damn important. So we're trying to do this using social media, the internet, Discord. And 1 year ago, I was here with Hessdalen, who is now media. And he drove me all the way. That's the other one is actually a map of Norway. So we were in the car for 5 hours, and he said that people, the parents of the students going to science camp said it would be nice if they came too. That's what they asked. They would like to come to have a science camp too. So he said, what if we make it so everybody can just join? But we can't call it science camp, so we call it the field trip. And it has become a little bit more than that. But he said, maybe we can have like 20 people. So this is the proof that I don't really listen to him all the time. So you can join in a step by step. Just join in the beginning and listen in. And then take the next step and give us €5 a month. And then we can do the science. So that's it. We have Magnus and we have Marvin. And now the subject is Nama.
Welcome everybody to Hessdalen. I'm talking about the SkyCam 6 system. Welcome to Hessdalen. My name is Marvin Baral. I am studying aerospace computer science at the University of Würzburg. I'm at the end of my master currently. And during my studies, I did a big project where we designed an optical tracker for rocket launches. So we had model rockets from enthusiasts, and we designed a camera system that in real time detects the rocket during its launch and follows it. So that's also where my personal interest lies, in tracking fast-moving objects, and the Hessdalen lights are obviously one of them. And I'm here for Professor Hakan Kayal from the University of Würzburg. You probably know this name. He has placed many camera systems here over a lot of years. And just this March, we placed another one here. The other ones didn't work anymore. I set it up this March, and I'm going to tell you about how it works. One remark, I'm doing this semester here at the Norwegian University for Science and Technology in Trondheim. So I'm living very close here, just 2 hours away. So if there's any action here in Hessdalen, I can always come over here for a weekend. Yeah, but let's look at the SkyCam system. First, we have SkyCam 5, which is placed at the University of Würzburg. It's on the roof of a high building. And this is the camera above. All sky camera looks up in the sky, sees the fisheye lens, sees a big portion of the sky. And below the roof, we have connected with fiber optics a camera server, which does the heavy processing, which I will explain later. I mean, we do a lot of pre-processing. Then the system you are all probably interested about is SkyCam 6 that we brought up here. You see, we have 2 cameras, and these are normal security cameras, not all-sky cameras. We had an all-sky camera previously, but here in Norway, the all-sky cameras are a bit problematic due to snow covering. I mean, you can melt them, but generally it's a bit better to just use the normal security camera design. So for the technological details, the cameras, I mean, if you're really interested, you can read them exactly. It's a camera from IDS Imaging, which is a German manufacturer of industrial cameras. It runs at a high resolution with 85 FPS per second, which generates a lot of data, 3.5 gigabits per second. and powered over Ethernet. And as you see, we have 2 independent cameras. You might assume by seeing that we are doing triangulation, but that is not the main purpose. The main purpose is to get a proof-worthy data. So we want to make sure that when we have an observation, that we have a credible observation, that we collect credible scientific data. And if you do this with only one camera system, there still is the uncertainty of sensor artifacts or reflections. And when you have 2 camera systems which are independent of each other, the data generated is much more reliable. So if you detect an event with both cameras at the same time, this is real proof, better than a smartphone, I would say. Yeah, and this goes so far, this independence, that on the server itself, there are 2 different programs running, the 2 cameras, and also the cameras enter the computer at 2 different network ports. One is connected to the main board, the other camera is connected to an external card. So we try to get them separated as much as reasonably possible. Of course, we use the same computer, the same GPU. That's a bit too expensive to separate that. But we try to keep these 2 systems separated. Yeah. So here you have the 2 cameras on the blue box. And they are connected with 10 gigabit Ethernet, 1 per camera. And down into the inside of the blue box, I don't know if you have already seen it. It's much cleaner now, by the way. Magnus did a lot of work of cleaning up all of this. Yeah, but down there you can see our server. Yeah. And so this is all part not of a single camera system, but of a whole network of camera systems and a distribution system. So we have, in general, for our software, we have cameras that are connected to the camera servers in each. We have, on these camera servers, our software runs with a lot of pre-processing, actually detecting the events and filtering, and at the latest point, classifying the detected events with an AI. So after all this pre-processing is done, the events are sent to Würzburg. We have here in the internal network of the University of Würzburg, we have our central server. And for each event that has been detected, we save a video and a thumbnail and some additional metadata. And I've been requested this at the last presentation from the SkyCam 5 in Würzburg. We get roughly 10 gigabytes per month of data on our server. And from the SkyCam here in Norway, we get roughly 75 gigabytes per month. The early month it was like 170 gigabytes, but that was to a lot of false detection, which we have filtered out now. So we are down to only that number. Yeah, and then you want to actually look at the events, of course. And for this, we also have a client software matched with our server software. We have 1 permanent client running in Würzburg. There we have a mission control center for our satellite. We have a satellite in Würzburg that's running at the moment, Sonata 2. I'll tell you later. And in this room we have 1 terminal dedicated to the SkyCam system, which is permanently running. So it's permanently monitored. And then, of course, I personally and everybody that develops in the project has its own client on the laptop. But yeah, it's still the problem that these clients need to be inside the university network. We want to change that, but with our current architecture, you have to be inside the university network to access this data, and yeah, you have to be a member of the university to do that typically. Yeah. Then let's talk about the heavy processing I've told you about. So inside, what does run inside the blue box? And first I will tell you here about what we actually have in the blue box. You can see we have a pretty beefy system, big graphics card with a RAM. Yeah, you can see for yourself. Software for performance, we use C++ with Qt Creator, CUDA, classical OpenCV, and TensorFlow for AI. The standard libraries for this application. So what do we do with these libraries? First, we have a relatively primitive detection that is probably similar to the other systems that are running here in Hessdalen 2 or any security camera system. We just do background subtraction, so we look at a lot of the past frames and at the current frame, and we look what has changed. So, and the thing that has changed is something that moves, and this gets detected. But we have a lot of filters and constraints to reduce false positives. So first of all, we have a filter mask here. You can see, this is a pretty dark picture, but you can see here there are some trees detected which are swinging in the wind. That is the source of false positive detections. And we have power cables running to our field of view that also move in the wind. So what we have done is create a mask which blends out these areas. Here we have the trees, here we have the cables, and actually you can't see that, but down there is a street. And this one is also a street where the cars are driving directly at us. So we had a lot of detections at night where we had a bright light, like beginning to glow up and then beginning to glow down, and it looked could have looked like the Hessdalen phenomena, but it was always at the same position where we knew that there's a street. So we put a mask there to blend that out, so that doesn't get in our system anymore. So if it passes through the mask, we still have some criteria. The number of frames. If we only have a single frame, it's a bit difficult to make an event out of this. And also the length of the video is constrained. That's actually more like for performance reasons. It's just at a certain amount of time we cut off an event. It's, for example, when clouds are moving, they are doing this over a very long time, and we might detect a cloud and it might generate an event over a very long time, but we throw it away with this filter. Now that we have detected and filtered out all the events, we save the event in the database. It gets sent to Würzburg, saved at our central server and accessible by every client. But what also happens is that we classify the event. Yeah, we do that for the reason that we get a lot of events, and at some point in time we also want to use AI classification to filter out events. Currently we get about 300 events per day on the SkyCam system. That is obviously something a human cannot evaluate. So we want to classify the known object. So the objective is not to classify the Hessdalen phenomena. We have no data on that. We can't teach an AI what a Hessdalen phenomena looks like, but we can teach an AI how a bird looks like, how an insect looks like, how a helicopter looks like, how an airplane with a condensed stripe looks like, so that it can filter out and throw away all these events. and make it easier for humans to classify the remaining data afterwards. So here are some examples of the AI at work. We have multiple classes, but currently in the blue box there are only 2 networks running. One is to classify insects and one is to classify birds. And for every event, each network determines how likely it is that this event belongs to its network. And then we look at all the networks together. If one network had a definite match, it gets assigned this class. So here we have obviously a bird, and the bird network is almost 100% sure that this is a bird, and the insect network is pretty sure that it is not an insect. So we get a class of bird. But if we would have duplicates, if both networks would have said, yeah, that's a bird, yeah, that's an insect, we would still classify it as unknown, since there is obviously some dispute. By the way, that phenomena is pretty interesting. I think it's like, if you would watch the video, it's like a lamp at ground level in the village. But I've seen it now multiple days increase in brightness at exactly 1950. So maybe there's somebody coming home every day at 1950 and some movement activated lamp goes on or something like that. Yeah, I found it interesting. But I don't think that's the phenomena, to be clear about that. Now you have seen the architecture, the system that we have installed here, the other systems, how they interact with each other on the network. And yeah, then let's go away from that. And yeah, what want we do with that? I already told you, currently the server with all the registered events is in the university network and protected by the university network. So we have troubles getting the data out to everybody, but we want to get the data out of everybody. We get 300 events a day. We are not capable of classifying them as just 1 or 2 persons working on this project. So it is our long-term goal to bring this data out to you and to make it possible for you to install the clients and go through some events yourself and assign classes, label them. That's something we want to do, but yeah, we have to move the server and do some stuff, and yeah, that's actually a lot of the things that when you interact with us, it might seem that we are not willing to respond or that we don't go into your requests, but we just don't have the manpower. This is not a big funded project, that's more like a side piece, and yeah, it's just we don't have the man hours to do what we want to do. So just keep that in mind. We want to do more than we are capable of. These are our big projects at the university, where a lot of money is going in. We have a satellite, a Sonate 2, which launched pretty much at the same time as I set up the camera system here. And we are also doing AI, this time in space. So we are doing on-orbit training, which is a first, I think. And what we want to do that with closely with this project here is to search for some anomalies in general. Of course, with a small CubeSat like this, it's a 6U CubeSat that's not that big. You don't have big optics to zoom closely to anything. So the area we are talking about is like just detecting some artificial stuff in the landscape. For example, if we fly over a desert, there are some irrigated places where you have like this green circle, which is irrigated. And that's an example of an anomaly which we want to detect. But of course, we also wanted to detect light phenomena, but it's, yeah, let's see if we catch anything that's small. And what we also have is KI Sense. There we have a telescope close to the Skycam in Würzburg. The Skycam in Würzburg is down here on this roof. And we want to track space debris with that. Yeah, that's, I don't know how close you are into the space industry, but that's a very big thing right now to track all of the old stuff that flies around in space. Thank especially Magnus for helping me with the setup of the Skycam system. And yeah, that was a lot of work setting this up, carrying stuff up the hill. Yeah, it went really nice. Grateful for the help, and I would say let's continue to work together, Project Hessdalen and University of Würzburg. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Magnus Holm. I'm the technical director of Project Hessdalen. I've been that for about a little bit more than a year. I'm not going to talk long. I already had a long talk today, much longer than I should have talked on the annual meeting for the members. There you see Marvin's cams, and then up to the right there is this black cam. It's a pan tilt zoom cam that I put up last year. I've been testing out a detection system for that called a UFO DAP or UTDAO, optical tracking and data acquisition system, which is quite an interesting experience, which I had the privilege to test out in Hessdalen with a live camera. That has given some interesting results. Nothing is very conclusive, as always with video and pictures. I mean, you can see something, it looks strange, but it's really hard, unless you have a very close-up of something, it's very hard to say what it actually is. And of course, here in Hessdalen, if you see a light in the night that shouldn't be there, you're suspicious it's Hessdalen light, but it might just be someone walking in nature with a headlamp or a car or whatever. It happens here as well, believe me. But I'm not gonna talk too much about what is. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the vision. So I have envisioned a system. Okay, first of all, why do we need a detection system? I mean, we have a lot of human detectors here. Why do we need this? Or Marvin's system? Anyone has a good idea why we need it? Or do we need it? Come on, we have to answer that. Evidence. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good point. So, humans are very good at some things, but they have a subjectiveness to it, which might be very interesting itself. But we need to collect some data that is kind of unbiased in as many ways as we can. And what is there unbiased data? I don't know. But we're assuming there is unbiased data. And that's what this system is supposed to catch. And that's, I mean, there are many of these systems or ideas of this system. It's a multimodal, multi-sensor system that is event-based. We want to have a lot of sensors, a lot of not only cameras, but a lot of sensors and even drones, autonomous drones. I could imagine, or airships with sensors, and there are so many things you could do. But you want to connect all of it to one central system that can detect anomalies and start recording on all channels. So it has to be event-based, and you quickly come to a quite expensive, complex system if you want to do this properly. But that's the vision. That's the vision I have. And I mean, there are other groups around in the world that works with this. I mean, the Würzburg system is some part of this, but it's not the full multi-sensor system. It's focusing on the cameras, which is very good first step. I mean, I would love to have an AI that can remove absolutely all natural objects. If I can get that AI, I can focus on the rest, and that would be truly anomalous. But we don't have that system, and I'm a bit scared to hear that you have a backlog since 2021. Did you say 21? I'm not sure. Okay, that's too. So the Wurzburg system could have been trained much better if someone just went through all this backlog. I'm guessing it's hundreds of, even millions of pictures. But if we don't do that, then we have to fall back on a more classical approach, which would be motion detection, kinetics, looking at the path of the object, whatever it is, and then try to do some good enough detection system, like the original SOSO system in the blue box that is currently down, but it's a very basic system that the Italians, Massimo's friends, I guess, was there? Yeah. Well, no, but there was this SOSO system, self-observing science observatory, I think, and it was based on motion detection, and it could detect some motion, but it produced quite a lot of false alarms. And whenever you have these false alarms, then a human has to go through all of them and look at them and try to classify them. And that's always, it's very costly. But on the other hand, building a system like this is very costly as well. So there has to be a balance somewhere. Well, I mean, Hessdalen is a really good place to do this. I mean, there's a few places in the world that have had that repeatable type of, observations of some kind of anomalous phenomena. To my knowledge, at least, there are a few other spots, of course, but I think it's a good place to be. To really advance this research, we need much more data, high quality data, and it needs to be correlated. We need to look at, okay, something came in the camera, we say, the magnetic field went up, there was radio frequency noise that in this spectrum that we haven't seen before, and we have a pan-tilt zoom camera, we can point at it and take a spectrum of the light. And if we have a spectrum of the light, we could get a hint of what kind of physics there is in this object, or whatever you call it. So that's kind of goal. And my crazy vision is to fly around autonomous drones here, and if a light throws up, chase it down and try to get as close as possible and look at it, if that's even possible. Nobody has tried it. We don't know. The drone could crash, hundreds of meters away because of some force fields, or it couldn't, or the object could just disappear, But I would like to have a serious modern Doppler radar in Hessdalen, which could look at the whole airspace with a very high accuracy and see if there's anything bouncing off radio waves or radar waves, which has been proven before in Hessdalen that it does. We don't know if it always does it, the phenomena, but there's a lot of examples where it does reflect radar waves, and also when it's not visible in the optical spectrum, which is quite interesting, because then, you can imagine, wait a minute, what if the Hessdalen light phenomena actually crisscrosses here right now, but we just don't see it? But the radar could see it, or thermal camera could see it. I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see.
So I'm Carl Andresen. On the internet, I go by Carl Crusher for taxes and trademark and all of that kind of stuff, if I brand my name. And also people can't spell Andresen, although when I come over here, it's not a problem. But yeah, so what I do is I go to locations where the phenomena is apparent or supposed to exist, and especially where the government has spent a lot of time and invested a lot of money in trying to understand the phenomena. And what my angle and perspective has come from is that of an experiencer, a contactee. So as a child, when I was 10 or 11 years old, I was spending the night over at a friend's house. Both of us were basically taken in the night and put back on a different level of the house, in a different room of the house. And we both had full memory of the experience the next morning. And I kind of suppressed and buried a lot of that experience from my life, but it never stopped. So as I continued to grow up, it developed into what we call now as sleep paralysis, where I would go to bed at night, I would wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, completely incapacitated, can't move my body, like I'm paralyzed. All I can do is look around the room and be aware of my surroundings, like in a very strange, psychedelic, sort of altered state of consciousness. And in those experiences, there would sometimes be an entity, or what we would call like a shadow figure or something, that was apparently in the room with me. And if I wasn't overcome with fear and I maintained curiosity, that would transition often into like an out-of-body experience, or like what would be like a near-death experience, where I would see my body in the bed from above as though I'm floating by the ceiling, and then that would transition into a whole mystical vision or a journey, like I'm literally traveling on some kind of a craft and being taught things. And this was common in my childhood for me to experience these things, but I didn't have any way to interpret it. I was raised in the Mormon church my entire life, and so the tools that I had to interpret that was all that there was something wrong with me, that I had committed sins or done something wrong to attract demons to come and torment me or something. I did not have the ability to deal with this or to cope with it or anything like that. So most of my life as I got older, I suppressed it, tried to ignore it. When I would have an encounter, I would just wake up and ignore it and move on with my day. And then as I got older, when my father passed away, it's like all of that stitching came unraveled. So when I was going through the grief and loss of my father dying, I started exploring those aspects of my life in a way to try and see where my father was or see what was really real based on the way that I was raised in the church. And then compared to after I left the church, how do I sort all of these experiences in my life out? So as I started trying to answer these questions, my initial reaction was to go out into the wilderness or into nature and connect like with similar to like an indigenous person, to go up to an ancient petroglyph site, to sit alone and just meditate and just try to see if I could get in touch with myself and my own spirituality. And when I did that, instead of it getting better, it amplified even more, to where when I would go to these experiences, not only would I see lights in the sky, but I would see different orbs of light coming out of the petroglyph rocks, the ancient carving rocks, shadow figures between the rocks, and then I'd even have experiences and things follow me home. And in trying to understand all of these things that were happening to me, I realized there was a place in Utah where I lived called Skinwalker Ranch. And this is a location that the government had studied for over a decade in the 80s and the 90s. And they had invested millions of dollars into this place to try and answer this same question, because a lot of people who witness UFOs, or they see these lights in the sky and they witness these encounters, a lot of times the story just ends there. But when you really talk to the people or you get into depth with the experiences, a lot of times they don't actually end there. The experiences for these individuals follow them home, enter into their dreams, it bothers their family, and affects their personal life in all sorts of different ways. And so my approach to this whole thing, and going to Skinwalker Ranch, working with the team there, with the scientists there, and with the owner of the ranch, is to try and understand how the phenomena goes from being lights in the sky or a spaceship from another planet from outer space, and how does that fit in with this entire experience of a poltergeist or sleep paralysis, these strange supernatural experiences that are not just in the sky that we film with cameras, but they come into our homes and into our subconscious and affect us internally and in all sorts of different ways like that. And so in going to Skinwalker Ranch, I ended up meeting Chris Lehto up there, hanging out with Chris. And through that, we worked on a project together where we made friends with Dr. Jim Segala, who was the lead scientist at Skinwalker Ranch, developing these sensors, early stages of these detectors, where we could build the sensor, and I have one on the table back there you can all look at. But basically, it's the same idea as the Sky 360 system and the Sky Camera, but it's a unit that goes in your house, And we're even developing a model of it that's wearable that you can even wear as a watch, like a Fitbit that tracks your heart rate and your biorhythms and all that. But what these sensors do is they are able to sit in your home, or you can take them with you. And if you have an interaction with the phenomena or a sighting, if it follows you home or interacts with you at night, it can capture that evidence as well. So like, let's say if I went to bed at night and in the middle of the night I have one of those experiences where I'm paralyzed and it's like an entity shows up, it's no longer just a story. I can wake up the next morning and log into what we call the MUPAS system, the Modular Unidentified Phenomena Alert System. That's the name they came up with. But I can log into that and actually look at the data on the sensor and see, wow, right at like 3:15 a.m. in the morning when I felt like I was having this crazy experience, the sensor actually captured a spike in gamma radiation. And at the same time, a big spike or a wave in EMF data, the infrasound went off and even the GPS got confused. It didn't even know where it was. Like there's a glitch in time or reality, and it captures the data that I cannot create. There's no way for me to produce a gamma ray or gamma particle from my own subconscious while I'm just sleeping at home. That is something that's entering my house or entering my environment and interacting with me, and then I'm having this experience as a result. And so that's what we're trying to do now, is to take these stories that sound just like the house is haunted or this guy is schizophrenic or he's having these experiences. How do we also capture that data when it follows you home or when it enters your personal life? And so the idea of taking it from the sky systems and measuring it when it follows you home or moves from house to house is another part of the next phase that we're doing, and also a way that people can support the work to where other experiencers who have had sightings or feel like they have invasive elements to the phenomena that come into their personal life and enter their home, we can also capture and measure that as well. People can get on the MUPAS website and join as a member, and pay a monthly membership. And then you can log on and even see the data from my sensor in my house and the sensors that we're going to be setting up here in the Hessdalen Valley. So potentially we could put sensors in people's homes here or in a lodge or at the booth and capture the personal contact experiences to go along with the sightings that we see in the environment and in the sky. So my work around Skinwalker Ranch has to do with all that and relating it back to the Native American knowledge and indigenous cultures knowledge about this topic and how it relates when it comes into our personal life. So that's what I've been heavily involved in, working with the Skinwalker Ranch people, the local indigenous communities, and ultimately that has led me here because we have the same kinds of stories. You have the lights in the sky and then people driving up the road and seeing creatures crossing the road, coming up out of the river and going up into the mountains, and people having sightings of strange entities around in the community. So being able to capture that on camera, but also with the sensors and the data, it becomes more than just a story. We have the actual layers of evidence and the layers of data, but then the story of the experiencer can just be the icing on top of that cake that we get to see, wow, how does that really affect the person individually? So that's what I'm involved in and why I'm here, is we're going to be setting up some of those sensors if they arrive in time to capture the phenomena on the ground and in the personal life. So anyway, if you guys want to have any questions, you can come and talk to me and we can go over it all. But thank you.
Okay, so we just had a briefing from Erland Strand, and now there's Carl Andresen, Carl Crusher. We're going out to Camp 1. Try and see if we can, there's going to be a meditation event, like a CE5, and try and see if we can spot any lights. Aurora Borealis should be good tonight as well. Okay, we're here at Camp 1 now, so we're going to be here till it gets dark, looking for UAPs. Beautiful. You can see back here is a UFO camp. So if you come to Hessdalen, you can rent this place. Beautiful view. Look at that, it's amazing. Hopefully we see something. So what's your impression of Hessdalen so far, Carl?
It's beautiful, and immediately, first day, all the stories from the locals and everything sound so familiar. Yeah.
What, like Mount Wilson or Skinwalker Ranch?
Both. Yeah, just all of the attention, the public information is all focused on the lights in the sky. But then as soon as you're here in person and talking to people, they're all saying, so-and-so saw two creatures with long arms run across the road, and so-and-so over here is having encounters. And you realize how personal the phenomena can get to the people that live around here. And it's like some people just shut it out and don't want anything to do with it, and other people are more curious,
Yeah, like I mentioned, as we're just driving up here, there's a house over there, and Erling gives the story about sees this crazy light come up to his window.
Yeah.
This large, like 1.5 meter light sphere. Yeah, all the stories come out. I would love to see one of those objects. Well, anything really, but like, could you imagine seeing one of those crazy looking spaceship objects that they showed?
To have a landing and an interaction, or to have entities step out of some sort of a doorway or a craft of some kind, or anything like that. With the variety of the people that we have here at the event, goes from the extreme scientific, logical minded, all the way down to just straight up experiencer, and everything in between. And so to have a group sighting would be really cool, to have that different perspectives analysis, even just between you and I, the way that we like cross-check each other and stuff on when we experience things helps. When we get all these people together from this whole, literally different countries even, and then
11 countries, yeah.
11 countries from across the world. Ultimately, that's the message of this whole phenomena, is it breaking down the barriers and connecting us all.
Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button. Really helps the channel. Consider subscribing. And a special thanks to all my patrons on patreon.com/Chris Lehto. This trip to Hessdalen could not be possible without them, as well as YouTube members. Thank you so much. And please consider helping the channel. Again, couldn't be possible without your support. And in November, I'll be going on The Transcendence of Consciousness, Ancient Egypt Uncovered, with Nick Cook, JP Haig, Mohammed Ibrahim, and Ross Coulthart, actually. Thanks again to patrons. Could not do it without you guys. And I will give up-to-the-date, real-time information on patreon.com/Chris Lehto. So again, please sign up. Thanks again. Have a great day. Peace.